The following is a special presentation of Extreme eSpeed TV, your new home for everything iRacing and eSpeed.
Good evening, race fans. It is Cool Ray Hometown Heroes Night in the Coast to Coast Racing Leagues. I'm Travis Piercefield, joined tonight, as usual, with John Hine, and the Coast to Coast Racing Network welcomes you to the UMP Modifieds here at Port Royal Speedway. John, you've been out of action for a little bit. Welcome back. We're glad to have you back on the call with us tonight.
Thank you. We'll see if I can keep myself vertical and paying attention here, but it's good to be back. I was definitely having some withdrawals.
Well, while you're back, you're coming back in a big way. We'll ride along with you here in the Coast to Coast Racing Racing League Extreme eSpeed Network Modified out here at Port Royal.
Yeah, it's taken just a few laps here. Just like I said, the withdrawal is here, but I don't know how competitive I'll be or if I can even make the whole feature without getting winded. This COVID thing is kind of a bear, I'll tell you. You don't want it, that's for sure.
So joining us here, we're just getting started. It's the PA Posse pre-race show here from Port Royal Speedway. We're riding along with John Hine and the Extreme eSpeed Network UMP Modified here as we get our Cool Ray Hometown Heroes Night underway. We'll kick it off with ABR Setup Shop qualifying session. It's looking like we've got maybe 10 cars here for the Modifieds tonight. John, we were here a few weeks ago at Port Royal, and that outside line really was preferred. Do you see that playing out again here tonight?
Yeah, I absolutely do. And, you know, as guys get down into this part of the corner, that wall, you're carrying us so much speed. You got to be careful of this wall. But right here where this wall sticks out and this other wall begins, watch for this to be a trouble spot. This will catch a lot of guys out. You know, they'll get their tail up there and hit it with the right rear quarter pedal and get themselves in trouble. And then down here, let me let McLaren go whizzing by here. He's going to, probably messed him up. But there is a bump right here. If you hit it, it's going to send you to this wall. So, and both of those places are really fast parts of the track. Guys are going to have their hands full tonight.
Well, it should be another exciting and great night of racing here at Port Royal Speedway. It's the Cool Ray Hometown Heroes Night, As we mentioned, we'll get started with ABR Setup Shop qualifying session here, as we've got 10 cars lined up for tonight. As you see John continue to make laps in that Extreme E-Speed TV UMP modified. Plenty of exciting racing action here. We'll switch to sprint cars next. And really looking for another great show here. Port Royal has put on a lot of great racing across all the leagues that we've broadcast from here, John. I know you've been on the track quite a bit since this has been added to iRacing.
Yeah, I have. This is a really interesting track. It's just it's one that challenges drivers in the racing. It's wide enough to make passes and everything else. So it's a good track to go watch a race at, and can't wait to bring this one here for you tonight.
So it looks like we do have 10 cars getting ready to go. We'll start with ABR Setup Shop qualifying session. Of course, you can look over on the left. You can get the times as they come in. Currently watching that 5:13 of Jeffrey Barker as he goes out to make his lap. It's hard not to mention that 31 of Brandon Templeton, and of course that 56 of Randy Shreves. Really good field as usual here tonight, John. Anyone that you think you should keep an eye on throughout this UMP modified session?
Well, here's the cool part. I know 10 cars isn't a lot of cars, but all 10 drivers can win this race tonight. Anybody can win. Randy Shreves, Nick Vickery, Templeton, Steven Spies, McLaren, Barker, Salas. I mean, all of them. Every one of these guys can win this race tonight. So this should be a lot of really good racing amongst some really good drivers that are really good in these cars.
Shooting to the top of the chart, Steven Spies will be up there. He's one of your Gambler Motorsports buddies there, John. Brandon Templeton second, Nicholas Vickery currently fourth. And as I say that, Isaac Salas completes his lap and shoots to the top of the charts.
Yeah, those are some quick times. My time's not gonna come up. I'm not qualifying. I'm gonna start out in the back, like I said, getting over the illness. I don't want to cause any problems here. Still a little bit of a fog, but that 1939 is a quick time, and so is the 1958. That's already quicker than anybody went into practice. That 39 is considerably quicker than anybody went in practice. So, this is going to be pretty quick heat races here. I got a feeling.
So it should be Isaac Salas going to be your fast time here in ABR Setup Shop qualifying from Port Royal Speedway. We, of course, will move on to Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1 to get the racing action started. And I think we talked about it last time we were here at Port Royal. Love how the houses on the backstretch, right there in town, plenty of action around. It's a different setting than a lot of racetracks we see where there's absolutely nothing around them.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Knoxville. Knoxville's like right in the center of town too, and it's. I think there's some benefit to it because at least I know when I've been up to Knoxville, that's a community deal up there. Everybody's involved, and I have to suspect it's probably the same at Port Royal when you have everybody everybody involved near the track, and it means there's got to be a lot of give and take too between the track promoters and the residents. So that requires a good relationship, and that's always a good thing. That's when you have that, everybody wins.
It goes hand in hand with the community, with the race fans, everyone really
Yes.
buying in for a racetrack and or a race series to really work. And with that, it looks like we are lined up for Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1. John, you got our starting lineup?
Yeah, let me get everything going here. It's going to be on the pole for this first heat. It will be the number 83 of Brandon Dittmer. Next to him will be the 00 of Nick Vickery. Next row is going to be the 31 of Brandon Templeton, and next to him will be Isaac Salas. And rounding out the field in this one will be the 513 of Jeff Kemper.
So they are lined up out on the track behind that Steve King Foundation pace truck tonight here at Port Royal. 8 laps here in Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1. No cautions here, as it should move quickly with those times we saw earlier in ABR Setup Shop qualifying session. Pace truck enters the infield on the back stretch here. And they will make their way around turn 4 down the long front stretch here at Port Royal. And Nicholas Vickery, Brandon Dittmer will bring us to green, and that green is out here on Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1 at Port Royal. It's going to be Dittmer on that inside line, Templeton behind him. It's going to be Dittmer down the backstretch with the lead. Vickery will battle back on that outside line.
Yeah, Nick got a nice run coming out of 2, is able to parlay that into the lead, but now he's got that lead, but that number 5 of Isaac Salas is hot on his heels.
So Vickery will lead lap number 1, Isaac Salas in that 5 right behind him, and then right in his tracks is Brandon Templeton. Great run for Salas off of 2. He'll lose momentum down the backstretch, fall back in line through 3 and 4.
Yeah, Brandon was last week's winner. He was also the quickest guy in the practice session here earlier tonight. So like I said, everybody that takes the start here tonight is capable of winning. Isaac Salas has got a couple of wins this season, as does Nick Vickery. So a good way to start the race here. Nick is starting to open out a bit of a lead, though, on Isaac.
He started to stretch that lead last time in turn 4. Both Salas and Templeton got into that wall we talked about coming off of turn 4. And now Vickery has about a half-second lead over Salas. Salas starts to close that gap this time by down the backstretch.
Yeah, once you get going, it's always easier to get a little quicker as you kind of get laps in. You kind of get a rhythm. You get where you need to lift and everything else. But keep in mind, Travis, this track changes lap to lap. So these guys are also battling that. What might have worked a couple laps before may not necessarily work the next time you go around.
We talked about that high line. In other series, we've seen drivers try to get that low line in. Do you think with these modifieds, somebody will be able to go down there and make it work, as Salas will make a move, slide job up in front of Vickery?
Yeah, I don't know. I know last week I ran this race with them and stayed up on the top, so it's going to take a couple guys, I think, going down there and running it in a little bit. The thing, though, with the slide jobs, you saw it right the lap before with Salas, as you go in, this track is so wide. By the time you slide up from the bottom all the way to the top, you scrub so much speed, it really leaves you open to the crossover. If you're going to slide somebody, your best place to do it is actually in turn 3 and 4, because it narrows up coming out of 4 with those 2 walls that I showed you earlier. So look for that maybe to be coming more into play a little bit later.
We'll see if it comes into play. Salas has set him up right on his rear going into 3. He'll dive to the inside, as is Templeton. Slide up in front of Vickery. Templeton makes contact, and Vickery fights back and will win heat race number 1.
Wow, that was a super aggressive move by Vickery there, but got the job done.
And your finishing lineup there in heat race number 1, it's Vickery holding off Salas, Templeton, Jeffrey Barker 4th, and Brandon Dittmer in 5th. Next, we will move on to heat race number 2, presented by Magnum Race Design. And as they get lined up on the front stretch, here is your starting lineup.
Yeah, on the pole is going to be the number 88 of Dan McLaren. Next to him will be the 514 of Nathan Aldridge. Starting in the second row is going to be the number 56 of Randy Shreves, and next to him will be the double nickel, the 55. That's Mr. Steven Spees. And rounding out the field, it's going to be yours truly. I know I'm 71, but we're going to run the coast-to-coast Hometown Heroes car here tonight.
So John starts 5th here tonight. We've got McLaren and Aldridge, that front row. Very good second row of Steven Spees and Randy Shreves, as the iRacing Pace Truck presented by Steve King Foundation dives into the infield. It's going to be McLaren and Aldridge leading us to green here at Port Royal.
I don't know, this outside line might be a little dangerous. You got Spees here that's starting 4th. He's just getting over the shingles, so he's not doing so well. I've got COVID. We might end up against the wall here in 1.
The Bandage Brigade is rounding out the rear of this field as we'll go green here and Magnum Race Design heat race number 2. McLaren will use that inside line, slide up. Spees looking for a move on the outside. They're 3 wide down the backstretch for second. It's going to be Aldridge pulling away with it. McLaren out front. Spees up to 3rd around Shreves. John Hine moves into 4th around Shreves coming out of 4. Dan McLaren stretches his lead out to about a half a second to start this race, as it's Aldridge, Spies, Hine, your next three behind him. Spies looks to the inside of Aldridge coming down the front stretch. They'll be side by side. John Hine will peek to the outside as Spies continues to run that inside line, slides up in front of the 514, opening the door for John Hine as they both move by, and now Randy Shreves will get by Aldridge as well.
Yeah, Steven probably cut that a little closer than I think he anticipated, and a little bit of contact there between the 514 and Spies coming out of 2 there kind of got Nathan up into the wall, really broke his momentum. I clipped him as we went by trying to miss him, but these cars really don't turn very well in the middle of the corner when you're committed to a line.
It wasn't a good corner for Aldridge. He's now in 5th. You have Dan McLaren out front, Steven Spies second, John Hine third, 4th Randy Shreves. As we're halfway done now, only less than 4 laps to go now here in Magnum Race Design Heat Race number 2. Spies closes that gap on McLaren, makes a move through 1 and 2, slides up in front of the 88 as McLaren crosses him back over, takes the lead down the backstretch. Coming to 2 to go here at Port Royal.
Yeah, that crossover we saw is the same thing that happened the last heat. You scrub so much speed down here in 1. Looks like Spies is going to try it again. Slides up in front of McLaren. McLaren goes back down low.
Spies has the momentum this time. He'll have the lead down the backstretch, take it into 3 and 4. He'll come out of turn 4 for the white flag this time by, as John Hine now has Randy Shreves right behind him for 3rd, as we make our final lap around Port Royal in heat race number 2. McLaren gets into the wall coming out of turn 2, opens up the gap for Steven Spies. Coming out of turn number 4, it's going to be the 55. Steven Spies claims Magnum Race Design heat race number 2.
It was a good battle there between McLaren and Spies. Had a pretty interesting view of it, and those guys were able to race each other clean, and Spies got the win there.
So it's Spies, McLaren, Hine, Shreves, Aldridge, your finishing order for that heat race number 2 presented by Magnum Race Designs. With that, we will go to our Flatline Racing Bodies intermission as our 10 cars prepare for that A main event. And John, as usual with these modifieds, it's all about momentum. We saw once momentum gets stopped, it really takes a few laps to get it back revved up and going again and try to make up that ground that you might have lost.
Yeah, it really does. And the thing is, these cars, they have some power to them, but the thing is, they got these really narrow, skinny tires, and getting them to hook up to the track with the power ratio that they do have becomes really, really tricky. And, you know, rolling the center of the corner and be able to ease on the throttle is so imperative, and that's where keeping that momentum up, because the more momentum you have, the less you have to get in that throttle to make it have that forward drive.
So watching it now, Isaac Salas is out there on the track, Brandon Templeton, our heat race number 2, Victor Steven Spies makes his way out there as well. We'll bring up the best times here during this Flatline Racing Bodies intermission. So John, you're going to start middle of the pack here. What's it going to take to get up there and battle for a victory?
A miracle. I'm not. I'm just kind of logging laps here tonight just to have fun here. But I think what it's going to take to win is whoever limits their mistakes. You know, the wall is right there. The cushion's going further and further up towards that wall. If you grab that wall right, it's going to really mess your car up a little bit and could even damage it to where you can't really go. So, you know, I think that's what it's going to come down to. The one who makes the least amount of mistakes.
Looking at the times here in the intermission session, Templeton's fast, a 19:24, Salas a 19:29. So even the fast times we saw in qualifying, John, keep getting quicker as they continue making laps around Port Royal.
Yeah, they're able to use that cushion and really launch off the corners. But I'll tell you, it's going to get a little slicker and a little slicker as that feature wears on, and getting back into the throttle is going to become more and more important with each lap that goes by, because hooking that back end up to the track is going to become extremely difficult. If you start to spin those tires, you lose your momentum. If you spin them too much, you get out of shape. So absolutely no good can come from getting into the throttle aggressively as this race will wear on. And sometimes as a racer, that's what you want to do, is stand on it. So it can become difficult for a driver to maintain that discipline.
And with that, our Flatline Racing Buddies intermission comes to a close. And we will move on to our main event for our UMP modified division here. And John, you've got our starting lineup.
Yeah, on the pole is going to be Nick Vickery, and next to him will be the number 55 is Steven Spees. After that will be Isaac Salas and Dan McLaren. Brandon Templeton and myself are going to take up row number 3. Row number 4 is going to be Jeff Barker and Randy Shreves. And in the back row tonight is going to be the number 83 of Brandon Dittmer. And next to him will be the 514 and Nathan Aldridge.
So our 10-car field here for tonight's main event, the UMP Modified Division, getting our Coolray Hometown Heroes Night underway. Steven Spees leads our field to green. As the iRacing Pace Truck presented by the Steve King Foundation heads on into the infield. It's Steven Spees, Nicholas Vickery, that front row are 2 heat race winners. 30 laps, cautions will count, and cautions will occur if needed. As we are green here for the UMP Modified Division here for Coolray Hometown Heroes. Nicholas Vickery will jump out to the lead. Isaac Salas looking to that inside line. Steven Spees battles back as we see McLaren get into the wall coming off of turn number 4. Back in the pack, you got John Hine in that middle line trying to make something happen on the inside of McLaren. And out front, it's Nicholas Vickery leading Isaac Salas and Steven Spees.
Yeah, early on when everybody's nose to tail, that's tough to complete a pass. That McLaren gets into the wall a little bit. You can't go around him because there's a guy in front of him. And, we had a bit of a trouble. Looked like Steven Spees had some trouble off of turn 4.
Spees and Salas got into each other in 4. Both were sideways at one point, but they'll both save it, hold on, and get back going straight. As Steven Spees fell back to 5th, John Hines now looking to make that pass on the inside as Dan McLaren's back there with them as well. As we work lap number 4, it's Nicholas Vickery out front. He's got a good size lead over Brandon Templeton. Templeton's battling Isaac Salas for that second position. Salas will complete the pass. Templeton will look to cross him over down the front stretch. And they're side by side at the start-finish line going into turn number 1. Templeton will slide up, get into the wall. That opens the door back up for Isaac Salas on the inside. As Salas continues to use that inside line, Templeton continues to smack that wall. And it looks like John Hine will bring out our first caution presented by Malcolm Mills Millwrighting.
Yeah, I don't know if I lost the back end or got some help there, but either way, I was going the wrong direction for a moment.
It looked like your Gambler Motorsports teammate there might have gotten into the rear of you.
Huh. I'm sure he probably owed me one from somewhere. That's probably what his story will be. But, yeah, bummer there.
You guys can shake that one out afterwards.
I think I got some damage. I think the whole front of my nose is gone.
It does look like you've got the old hot rod looking vehicle right now, and a little sideways crab walk going as well.
All right, I guess we'll have to pull her into the pits. And I tell you, I got a great iRacing team that will, you watch this, they will in a blink of an eye fix this car for me.
As always, that teamwork comes into play.
Oh man, They pushed the caution. I'm not going to be able to pit because they took the caution laps out.
As it looks
That's
like
not good.
iRacing pace car goes on in. John Hines going to have fun controlling that vehicle at the rear of the field. It's Nicholas Vickery, Isaac Salas, row number 1. Coming out of turn 4, we're back to green at Port Royal. Vickery's able to jump up in front of Salas. Going into turn number 1 on the inside, it's Brandon Templeton and that 31 machine trying to make something happen. He'll slide up into Dan McLaren, who looks to the inside. He's trying to battle back up to the front as he moves into the 3rd position before Templeton crosses him back over down the front stretch.
Yeah, and I've got to pull into the pits. The car is way damaged, and that's just that's too bad that they forward the yellow flags like that. That takes any chance to pit and get your car fixed away.
So John Hine is in the pits this lap by. Vickery leads up front. It's Salas second, then Templeton. Then a group of cars led by Dan McLaren with Steven Spies and Randy Shreves trying to get back up to the front. Isaac Salas makes a move on Vickery for the lead, gets into the wall. Vickery will look to the inside. Salas is going to lead this lap with Vickery on his inside.
And slide job by Vickery here. Now that Salas immediately crosses him over, and Vickery catches that wall, which is going to kill his momentum.
So Salas now leads Vickery. 22 laps to go here in the UMP Modified A main. Of course, thank you for tuning in for Cool Ray Hometown Heroes here tonight. Salas continues the lead. It's Vickery second and Templeton third. That front group of 3 has separated from the rest of the field as we have 20 laps to go around Port Royal.
Yeah, the top 3 are under a blanket right now, and Templeton is all over the back of Vickery, though.
Templeton all over Vickery there, all the way up to that outside wall coming out of turn number 4 as Vickery will slap the wall there in turn number 1 as Salas starts to set a little gap between Vickery and he as Templeton's right behind that 00. Looks like that turn number 4 is giving Templeton some issues. There's actually 3 walls and 3 wall angles over there that you have to maneuver around.
Yeah, and that can really mess you up. It's so easy to catch the right rear of that car up into those walls.
As we ride on the nose of Nicholas Vickery, you see him slap the wall in turn number 1 as he was making some momentum on Salas. He continues to try to chase down that 05 machine.
We got a pass for second. Nick got into the wall and it opened the door for Templeton, and he makes a pass.
That's one thing of a veteran driver. You can just sit there, be patient, wait and see if that car in front of you makes a mistake, and when they do, you're able to pounce on it and pick up that position, especially at a place like this that's hard to make a pass.
Yeah, and that, drivers just want to get around the other guy, and when that first guy that you're trying, the next guy up ahead is starting to check out a little bit. That's really where that patience has to come in. You don't want to overdrive it and get yourself in trouble. Nick's got to go for a slider.
Templeton bounces off the wall in turn number 2, but he's able to hold on to that second position. We had gone back. Randy Shreves and Steven Spies continue to battle for 4th. As Isaac Salas now has a sizable lead over the field, but Templeton and Vickery continue to try to trade that second position. As Vickery has a run down the backstretch, he'll move into second.
Yeah, Templeton got into the wall coming out of turn 2 there, and it just absolutely almost brought him to a stop. And Nick, with a good heads-up driving there, didn't drive into the back of him, just turned down and went around him.
Vickery still 2 seconds up behind Salas. Now that he's gotten by Templeton, he is starting to close that gap on the leader. as we've got 11 laps to go now at Port Royal.
Maybe I should pull back out on the track and spin out and cause a caution to get all those guys bunched back up.
Bunch the field back up. It's currently Vickery's currently 2 seconds behind the leader. Templeton right behind him. And then it's another 2 seconds back to fourth, which has Randy Shreves and Steven Spees battling for that top 4 position. And Salas gets into the wall there. See if Vickery's able to make up any ground, as now he's got Templeton again right on his rear.
Yeah, these two battle all the way through this race, and that's part of what's allowed Salas to kind of drive away. These guys have been just preoccupied with each other, and here comes Templeton. Gets into the wall, going to kill his momentum. Nick goes right back around him.
So 7 laps to go this time by, as we're currently watching the battle for second place. Vickery up against the wall. Templeton looking to the inside for anything he can find. Loses ground on Vickery that last lap.
Well, I tell you, as close as they are right there together, the bumper, front bumper to back bumper, if Nick makes a mistake, they are going to be just one big pile up in the corner.
You can see the separation. That lead for Salas almost up to 3 seconds now. Dittmer in 9th, Hine in 10th are off the track. As we've got 5 laps to go now here around Port Royal Speedway. It's the UMP Modified Division for Coolray Hometown Heroes here in the Coast to Coast Racing League. As we continue to watch, Templeton's back into patience mode as he is right on the bumper of Vickery coming off of turn 4, waiting for maybe another mistake to be able to move into that second position.
Yeah, Nick hasn't made too many of them, but he has made a couple, which is uncharacteristic for Nick here. He's usually a guy that does not make hardly any mistakes, but this, like I said, though, this track is really tough. These cars are a handful on this track.
And Templeton is right on that bumper of Vickery this time by. 2 laps to go. See if and when he makes an attempt to try to gain that second position. But out front, it's Isaac Salas coming up to the tail end of the field. But he has been on rails since getting that lead with about 22 laps to go. And he gets the white flag as he's got less than a lap around Port Royal to go. That is Barker to his inside, moves out of the way. And your UMP Modified winner at Port Royal tonight on Coolray Hometown Heroes is going to be Isaac Salas with the victory.
And Nick Vickery is going to come in second, and Brandon Templeton's going to come home third here tonight. So good run for those guys. I do believe those are your top 3 in the points, too, if I'm not mistaken. So good points tonight for all those guys.
So as we wait for the top 3 to join us up here in the booth, your final results are going to be Isaac Salas with the win, Nicholas Vickery, Brandon Templeton, Randy Shreve, Steven Spees, your top 5, 6th, Nathan Aldrich, 7th, McLaren, Barker, Dittmer, and John Hine round out your top 10. So Isaac Salas moves into Coast to Coast Racing League victory lane here at Port Royal. And it looks like, John, we have our 3rd place finisher, Brandon Templeton.
Yeah, Brandon, this is John up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, John.
Hey, man, you got a podium here. Good night. And, boy, you and Nick had a heck of a battle this whole race here. Tell me some of the thoughts you had and then some of the decisions you made to really give us a show.
Well, I know that top has been pretty treacherous, here just about every week, but I don't know if it was ever as treacherous as it was this week. It was pretty scary up there. We were all banging it. Sometimes on this track and in some cars that's a huge advantage, but tonight every time, Nick or I would touch it, one of us would get by the other one. So it was just a matter of who could make the least mistakes, while still maintaining that pace. And we definitely didn't have anything for Isaac. He was pulling away, but Nick and I were having some fun at least.
Well, that's exactly what it looked like. A lot of fun there. Tell me, you said it got treacherous. How was which end of the track, number one, was more treacherous, and how was that bump over that develops in turn one there? Did that play any kind of effect into the? Because I saw you guys have a lot of trouble over there in turn two.
Yeah, that bump definitely sends you up. If your car's not set and the weight's not ready to hit that bump, it's going to throw you a way you don't want to go. But coming off that bump in turn two, once in a while we were snagging it just because there wasn't as much marbles up there. And in three and four, you just about had to touch it to run the top, or your car would naturally slide up and touch it almost no matter how soft you went in. So it was just a matter of trying not to get your wheels snagged and let it spin you or something.
Well, all in all, a good night, good points night, top three, podium. That's kind of what you need to do to win championships and run for championships. Who would you like to give a shout out for a good finish here tonight?
I got to thank Dirt Track Bank, Got Your Six Racing Network, Hammer Down Racing Team, VMR Wraps, Extreme Images by Ashley, Maley's Makery, Big C's Lawn Care, Extreme E-Speed for doing this, you guys for broadcasting and everything, and Coast to Coast for putting on the league.
Well, thank you, and congratulations again. Are we going to see you in any more races here tonight?
Probably done for tonight.
All righty, then. We'll see you next week. That's Brandon Templeton in the number 31 UMP Modified.
So Brandon Templeton ends up third. Our second place finisher tonight is the 00 of Nicholas Vickery. Nicholas, it's Travis in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How are y'all?
Doing well. Good second place finish for you here tonight at Coolray Hometown Heroes. Could you kind of talk about that battle you had majority of the race with Brandon?
Yeah, it was a really good race. I know every Tuesday coming into this that Salas and Templeton are going to be guys that are going to be strong, and got to figure out a way to get faster here. I felt like I was closing in on Salas there with about 15 to go, and my daughter ran in here and grabbed my arm. I didn't want to hit her, so so I had to do what I had to do and lost some space, and that set up a really good battle between me and Templeton there at the end. And yeah, I mean, it's like I said, coming into every Tuesday, it's really really tight with those two guys.
Early in the race, you had the lead. You battled for the lead. You were right there with Isaac. Was there anything that kind of set the tone for the rest of the race once Isaac was able to separate, or was there anything that you could have done differently to maybe have a chance to stay with him longer?
Yeah, I don't know. I think there about 15 to go, he had I don't know if he made a couple mistakes and grabbed the wall a couple times. And in these cars, when they grab the wall, you really got to lift to get the car off the wall, or it'll slow you down a lot. And I felt like I closed in. I heard my spotter say it went from like 2.0 to 1.6 across 2 or 3 laps. And I was hoping to make it back up to him, and just wasn't able to get it done tonight.
Looking ahead to the rest of tonight, any other series you're going to be racing in tonight with us, Nicholas?
Yeah, I'm gonna run the 305s and the 360s.
Well, awesome. We look forward to seeing you the rest of the night here at Port Royal. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, definitely got to shout out Spartan Racing. After that would be VMR Wraps. If anybody out there needs a wrap, come check us out on Facebook at VMR E-Wraps. Got to thank Coolray. Andy does a lot for a lot of leagues, so definitely got to shout him out. And looking forward to the throwback race we have coming up in PLMDS on a different night. But yeah, definitely got to shout out Andy, and of course I got to shout you guys out for doing a broadcast every week.
Well, good luck the rest of the night. We'll see if we can talk to you again later, Nick.
All right, thanks, guys.
That is our second place finisher, the 00 of Nicholas Vickery. And now joining us from Victory Lane with John is Isaac Salas.
Hey, Isaac, this is John in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, bud, you had a spirited battle early and then kind of ran away with it. Tell me about the track and how your car and how everything felt for you tonight.
Yeah, man, it was a fun one. It's been the first UMP race I've gotten do in I think 2 weeks now, 3 weeks now. So it was a little bit of a learning curve at the beginning to get back in the feel. But yeah, man, track was quick up top, kind of just how it has been all season. Um, and I've truly started, you know, getting better in UMPs, and it's been kind of fun.
Well, how are you navigating the bump over in turn one and then turn two with the three different points on the wall that you've got to kind of miss coming out of those corners? Talk to us about the challenge that you had to deal with and how you dealt with it.
Yeah, man, that bump, if you hit it wrong, it'd throw you right up into the wall. But my plan was just kind of, I'd run really hard right to the bump, and I'd let off, and I'd let it carry me up to where I wanted to be, and from there it was just kind of throttle control to stay towards the wall, you know, enough to not let the back end kick out too bad. But yeah, man, it was just a lot of throttle control and a lot of just trying to hit my marks all night.
Well, you did just that, and you brought her home with a win here. Who would you like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I definitely have to give a shout out to Venom Racing. You know, each and every week they support me with everything I do. So big shout out to them. I have to thank Dean, the Super Dirt Car Series, Magnum Race Designs, Brian Lawson. Anybody needs a wrap, go get them. They're really awesome. They really are. Coast to Coast, you guys for broadcasting, and then everyone that came and ran and watched. You know, makes it a lot of fun.
Awesome. Are we going to see you driving anything else tonight?
Yeah, we're gonna try. We're gonna try it. I don't know if I'm gonna be very good in the sprint cars, but we're gonna try it.
Well, hey, good luck in those. We'll see you a little bit later. Hopefully, we'll talk to you again before the night's out.
Awesome. Well, thank you, John.
Yep. That's Isaac Salas, tonight's UMP winner.
So Isaac Salas will win our UMP Modified Division here to kick off Cool Ray Hometown Heroes from Port Royal Speedway. John, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will have sprint cars on the track, and we will be right back after this short commercial break.
our industry. The lifetime parts and labor warranty is pretty awesome. Basically, all the parts are covered, the labor and everything. When we say lifetime, we mean lifetime, and it's supported with money-back guarantees. And with that, you're getting all qualified technicians that are going to ensure that this job is done perfectly and operates perfectly throughout the life of the unit.
Learn more about our Coolray lifetime parts and labor warranty at Coolray.com. Coolray and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
Welcome back to Port Royal Speedway. It is Coolray Hometown Heroes Night here in the Coast to Coast Racing League. And we move on to our sprint car divisions as Coolray Hometown Heroes continues on here. As always, thank you for joining us here on Tuesday night. Of course, tomorrow we'll be back with the Flatline Racing Body's Veterans and First Responders Night, and Thursday night, Gambler Motorsports Thursday Night Thunder, and then round out the week with Gears Unlimited Friday Night Lights. 5 nights of racing action here on the Coast to Coast Racing League Network. John, we move on to sprint cars. A little bit different action now as we get the wings on these cars.
Yeah, I've had a little track time here, and it's a whole different ball game. And one thing that you're going to see with these big wings and these big right rear tires is that bottom is going to become viable. We ran these last week. The bottom was definitely a little quicker early on. We'll see what happens here a little bit later. But as I pull out onto the track here, right now, even with the track the way it is, this is probably going to be close to the track state in the feature. But running this bottom and sliding up to the middle here is going to be really fast, I think, in this feature. So I think that's going to give guys on the outside fit. Same thing for down here. Just stay right above this slick, right through the middle. And as you power off here, I think that you can really keep your momentum up with these cars. So these guys that are up here running right up against this wall are really going to have to watch what's going on below them and know who's down there. And if they're coming up and whatnot, make sure they give them the room, because you're going to lose the vision of them here, you know, about towards the end of the corner entry. So a lot of awareness is going to come into play here.
As practice will come to an end, that means we move on to ABR Setup Shop qualifying session, as we have a good field of cars here in this 305 sprint division. Looking, see the 747, Roger Craig, going out to make his lap. 218, that's Kurt Schatzer, of course. The 518, Joseph Grandy. See Blake Chapman on the charts. Plenty of good and fast cars and drivers here making up this field. Donovan Ross. Isaac Salas, our winner in the UMP Modifieds, he's out there making his lap as well. First one to turn in time is going to be Joseph Grandy. It's a 17.82. Nathan Aldrich will beat him out with a 17.76. See Kurt Schatzer with a 17.95. Dean Reynolds shoots to the top of the charts. That's a 17.70 for him. John Hine moves up to P1 with his lap. He's in that Coast to Coast Racing League Extreme E-Speed TV sprint car. Donovan Ross in the 5. He had the 9th fastest with a 17.83. Randy Shreves will shoot up to 2nd with a 17.69, just behind John Hine. Blake Chapman now up to the top of the charts. John, you had a great lap. Then Blake goes out there and turns a 17.52.
Yeah, I was a little surprised with my lap here. Yeah, Blake's so wicked fast in these things. So I would have to say he is, without even looking at the times, just seeing him on the entry list, I think it's got to go right to the top of the list of who's your favorite to win here tonight.
John actually completed his lap with his eyes closed, and it was a
17.66. Eyes closed, coughing, wheezing a little bit, but yeah, it's surprising to be up there in second there. I think some guys might be trying to play the invert a little bit, so I don't know that I'm actually probably the second quickest of this bunch here.
Well, on the charts you are. Great lap time of 17.66. 23 drivers have made their lap times. One, the Gary Taylor 34 machine, has not as of yet. But if things hold, your ABR setup shop qualifying session quick time is going to go to the 20 of Blake Chapman. And Gary,
that's all in the mail too.
And it looks like Gary was about to make a lap as the qualifying session comes to a close. And that moves us on to our Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1. John, you got our starting lineup?
I do, if my mouse will cooperate here a little bit. There we go. On the pole is going to be the number 7, Mr. Bob DeGood. Next to him is going to be the 88 of Dan McLaren. In the second row is going to be Dean Reynolds. And our quick time qualifier tonight, it's going to be number 20 of Blake Chapman. Starting in row 5, and these are the first 4, by the way. Those are your transfer spots at top 4 here and coast to coast. So from 5th on down, they've got some work to do. Starting in 5th is going to be Donovan Ross. Next to him will be the number 218 of Kurt Schatzer. Rounding out the field is going to be Gary Offit and Mr. Jeff Kemper.
So they are lined up there. Looks like Bob DeGood's got a different paint scheme tonight. That's a sharp-looking number 7.
Bob always shows up with some really good-looking cars. He's just, I guess he tells the guys that he may even do it himself, but whoever he's got doing them always does a great job.
So it's going to be Bob DeGood, Dan McLaren leading us to green. Of course, we just saw Dan in the UMP Modifieds. Row number 2 there should be a doozy with the 20 of Blake Chapman and the 790 of Dean Reynolds. As the Steve King Foundation Pace Truck leads us around. We'll do another lap before going green here in heat race number 1. As always, if you're tuning in, make sure you're subscribed to the Coast to Coast Racing League Network. And you can always click that bell as well to get notifications when a broadcast goes live. As the pace truck should dive off this time on the backstretch there for us. Eight laps here. Caution laps. There are no cautions in the heats. As Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1 will get underway. It's Bob DeGood, Dan McLaren leading us to green and getting our sprint car racing action underway here tonight in Coolray Hometown Heroes from Port Royal Speedway. And as they come down the front stretch, the green flag is out and heat racing is underway for our 305 sprints.
Yeah, and these things don't really get wound up until about halfway down the backstretch. They just don't have that torque to them, but once they get going, they move.
Bob DeGood stays down in that middle line. Dean Reynolds not far behind him. McLaren using that outside line with Blake Chapman right behind him. As Bob DeGood still got that inside line working for him as they head down the backstretch.
Yeah, just as I suspected last week, we were on the bottom for a good part of that race with these cars, and they seem to like it. You see Blake Chapman move into second place using that bottom line.
Chapman moves into second. Dean Reynolds now looking to the inside of McLaren down the backstretch. Ross is to his outside. Out front, though, in that middle line, it continues to be the number 7 of Bob DeGood.
Yeah, he's running a nice, consistent line there, and he's got the line that's preferred, right now, so that makes it more difficult for everybody else to complete that pass.
Blake Chapman falls in line behind him there in second. He continues to run up there alongside the outside wall as they're almost 3 wide for third place, as it's McLaren, Ross, and Reynolds continue to battle for that third position.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the number 20 is getting some monster runs coming out of both ends of the track here. We'll see if he tries to do something with this one coming out of four, because he's getting a big run. Here he goes. See if he's going to go back up top here, but I keep waiting for him maybe to try to get that nose under that 7 and force him up so he can take that preferred line.
Chapman's really making up a lot of ground there in 3 and 4, coming down the front stretch with a ton of momentum. He'll have an opening to the outside, and he'll lead that lap as he gets alongside Bob DeGood, and coming down the backstretch should be alongside of him and takes the lead going into 3. After what? Sorry, John. After watching the UMPs and then again this 305 series, you could tell some of the better drivers that, just like we said, get real patient and wait for it to come rather than forcing something.
Yeah, we have a big wreck there in the back with Donovan Ross and Dean Reynolds, it looked like.
And it's going to be Blake Chapman winning Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1 over Bob DeGood and Dan McLaren. Looked like Ross Reynolds might have been caught up in that as well, as he ends up finishing 7th. And we will have your Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1 final results. It's going to be Blake Chapman, your winner, Bob DeGood 2nd, 3rd Dan McLaren, Kurt Schatzer 4th, Gary Offit 5th. Rounding out the field is going to be Kemper, Reynolds, and Ross. We now move on to Magnum Race Design Heat Race number 2, and they're lined up like this. Since you're lining up, John, we'll let you focus. It's going to be Neil Strasser on the pole, Brandon Dittmer 2nd, Jeffrey Barker, row number 2. Alongside him, our broadcast friend, John Hine. Row number 3, Brian Dickens, next to Roger Craig. And the final 4th row, Jackson Lomax and Dale White. As you can see, it has some cloud cover now over the track as it darkens. See what that does to the field here in Magnum Race Design Heat Race number 2. Neil Strasser, Brandon Dittmer will lead us to green. 8 laps in this heat race. Steve King Foundation pace truck in the infield. That means we're going green here in heat race number 2. It's going to be Strasser getting out front, Dittmer to his outside as they start to get wound up down that backstretch there. Great battles for 3rd on back. As coming out of turn number 4, it's going to be Strasser with the lead. Great run by Dittmer. They're 3 wide behind him. That's John Hine, Brian Dickens, and Roger Craig battling for that 4th position. John Hine down on that inside, the 122 to his outside. John will make that pass. He'll move into 4th down the front stretch. Out front, it's Neil Strasser leading Dittmer. Dittmer continues to try to make that outside line work. Strasser down the track, slides up coming out of the corner. Now he and Dittmer start to pull away. Dittmer starting to do what Blake Chapman did in heat race number 1 and use that outside momentum. We'll see if he'll be able to complete that pass like Chapman did. Back in the pack, great battle between Dickens and Roger Craig. That's a battle for 5th. They've traded that spot back and forth as up front, Brandon Dittmer was able to get past Neil Strasser for the lead. Strasser looks to the inside of Dittmer now with 4 laps to go. It's going to be 3 laps to go this time at the line as John Hine peeks to the inside of Jeffrey Barker coming out of 4. Barker moves to the inside of Strasser for 2nd. They're 3 wide through turn number 2. That 5:13 of Barker. Oh, and Strasser gets into the wall coming out of 4. That opens the door for both Barker and Hine. Hine now peeks to the inside of Barker. We've got less than 2 laps to go. Hine falls back in line, looking for a move around Barker for 2nd. Up ahead of him, it's Brandon Dittmer. Dittmer takes the white flag here in heat race number 2. They fall in line as they head down the backstretch through 3 and 4. Barker will take a look to the inside of Dittmer. Dittmer's going to have momentum on that outside. And at the line, it's going to be Brandon Dittmer winning Magnum Race Design Heat Race number 2. Your finishing order for Magnum Race Design Heat Race number 2, Brandon Dittmer, Jeffrey Barker, John Hine 3rd, Roger Craig 4th, Neil Strasser 5th. Rounding out your field, Brian Dickens, Jackson Lomax, and Dale White.
And next up will be our 3rd and final heat race, and on the pole for that one is going to be the 5:18 from Joseph Grandy. Next to him will be the 5:14 of Nate Aldridge. A lot of triple-digit 5s here. Next one will be the 5:58. Brian Morris Sr. starting 3rd. To his outside is going to be the 56 of Randy Shreves. Next row is going to be our guys from the UNP race. We'll see Isaac Salas and Nick Vickery occupy that row, and out back is going to be John Rayner and Gary Taylor.
So, John, you brought it home 3rd. Anything you could have done? We saw you trying to work over Barker there, just not enough time.
Yeah, I got into the wall lap 1 there, drove it in a little high going through 3, and that's what really cost me. Plus, towards the end of that, I was really, really, really getting gassed. I don't know. I probably won't make it through this feature, but I was about falling out of this seat by the end of that one there. So I think I just had to pull the line and just take what I could get.
So heat race number 3, 8 more laps. It's going to be Aldridge and Grandy leading us to green. The green flag waves here at Port Royal. Moore, Shreves, that 2nd row. Vickery also someone to watch, and Salas already moving up quick. Salas makes contact to the inside. It looks of Shreves. That'll pop him back as it's going to be Joseph Grandy coming out of turn 4 leading lap number 1. Battle for 2nd heats up. It's Shreves, Moore, and Aldridge battling for that 3rd position. And 2nd position that Moore takes over. Nicholas Vickery tries to enter the picture as well. He'll get into the wall. He'll fall back into the grips of Gary Taylor. As it's Moore out front as they got past Joseph Grandy now on that outside line. Shreves and Moore running that middle line that we've seen successful, as it's Shreves battling Grandy for 2nd now, as now Brian Moore takes a commanding lead.
Yeah, nice job by these guys. Close quarters racing on a high-speed track, and they're able to do this cleanly.
Shreves will fall in line behind Grandy. Behind them, you've got Nathan Aldrich, Nicholas Vickery trying to get up there as well. Vickery's trying to hold off the back of the field. As we'll come to 3 laps to go this time around, as it's Grandy and Shreves in that outside line. Moore continues to use that middle line around the track.
Yeah, I think that's the best line to be in, based on what I was just out there. You don't have to put a whole lot of wheel into it. You keep the car straight, and it really allows you to keep your momentum and your RPMs up.
Grandy tries to make a move similar to what Blake Chapman did in heat race number 1. Chapman's the only one able to complete that pass so far. Grandy's trying to do it now as he's got that outside line going into 3.
Yeah, Blake did it, but Blake seems to have his own gear. I know Isaac Salas gets into a lot of trouble coming out of 4, caught that wall coming out.
So final lap, it's Moore and Grandy battling side by side down the backstretch. They'll head into 3. Grandy has the advantage. Moore battles back on that inside line. They'll come down the start-finish line. It's going to be Grandy with that outside line momentum picking up the victory. So 21 Designs Heat Race number 3 comes to a close. It's going to be Joseph Grandy, Brian Moore Sr., your top 2 finishers. Coming home third is going to be Randy Shreves. 4th, Nathan Aldridge. 5th is going to be Nicholas Vickery. 6th, Gary Taylor. 7th, John Rayner. And 8th, Isaac Salas. So that leads us to Flatline Racing Bodies intermission here at Port Royal.
Also going to mean we're going to have a full field of cars here for that feature. 24 are going to start, and that should give us a lot of excitement here for the 30-lap feature.
Surely should. Obviously, we're seeing Blake Chapman go out now. Really a lot of drivers in this. Joseph Grandy, he just won that heat race number 3, of course. Dan McLaren had a good run going. Kurt Schatzer, Donovan Ross. Bob DeGood had a fast car earlier in the evening as well. Plenty of cars that could come away with a feature winner sticker here in Coolray Hometown Heroes 305 Sprints.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to contend for this win here tonight, but I do have to think that the favorite's still got to be that 20 of Blake Chapman there. He's already to the top of the list here in the practice session, and he did that running the bottom. So the top, I know that momentum, you saw some guys get it, but that bottom looks to be pretty fast if you can hit it right.
Well, and he was up against the wall really out of necessity in his heat race. He was able to make it work and get by Bob DeGood for the victory. But now that he will start from the pole and dictate where he wants to go, be interesting to see where and if there's a faster line he can find.
Yeah, he's starting to fall back a little bit, back to third quick. So it'll be interesting to see. Now he finally goes up to the top, I see. To see what kind of lap time he can get up there. So I'm sure he'll try to make a decision here on where he wants to go. But I am seeing a lot of carnage. Cars up on top of walls, upside down here. So I hope that's not a little bit of a precursor of what's about to happen here in this feature.
Definitely starting to see some cars really push the limits, especially here at Port Royal. We'll see that especially in the corners where you have that large guardrail to lean up against as well, if needed. There's one flipping down the front stretch.
Yeah, and from what I'm seeing these guys go, I think the place to be is on the bottom over in 3 and 4, but up top on 1 and 2. So I think to get around here fast, I do believe you're going to have to run 2 different lines. I think you're going to have to be on the top up against the wall, like I said, over in 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. That mid to bottom, I think, is where you're going to want to be.
As Blake Chapman will end up on top of the charts with a 17.77 as they get lined up for our A main here on Coolray Hometown Heroes 305 Sprint Car A main event. As they get lined up, John, you've got our starting lineup.
Yes, I do. On the pole is going to be the number 20 of Blake Chapman. Next to him is going to be the 83 of Brandon Dittmer. Starting third is going to be Joseph Grandy. Next to him will be the number 7 of Bob DeGood. After that, in the third row is going to be the 513 of Brian Moore and the 513 of Jeff Barker. And next to him will be Brian Moore in the 558. After that is going to be row number 7. Or starting in 7th will be Dan McLaren in Travis, I am in the car and I can't. It's not letting me scroll through the lineup.
No problem. I'll take it from there. 9th will be Randy Shreves. 10th, Kurt Schatzer. John Hein will lined up 8th. To the second half of the field, Roger Craig 11th, Nathan Aldridge in 12th. 13th, Gary Offit next to Neil Strasser. Nicholas Vickery next to Jeffrey Kemper. Brian Dickens, Gary Taylor. Rounding out your top 20, it's Dean Reynolds, and Jackson Lomax. 21st, John Reiner, Donovan Ross next to him. And rounding out the field, it's going to be Dale White next to our UMP modified winner, Isaac Salas. So John will line up P8 here.
Yeah, my goal is going to be get to the bottom and get to the pits as quickly as I can. I didn't want to not start to screw up the lineup here, but I am not going to be making this full race here.
And as they make their way around, it's going to be Brandon Dittmer on the outside of row number 1, Blake Chapman on that inside line. 30 laps here in our 305 Sprint A main for Coolray Hometown Heroes. And we are green from Port Royal Speedway. Chapman, Dittmer next to each other, and the caution flag will wave. It looks like they'll wave off that green flag attempt.
Huh. Something happened in the back? That's kind of odd. We didn't even get to turn 1, and that caution was back out.
Not seeing anything. It actually looked like the green flag never actually really came out.
Huh. Another one of those iRacing things. I guess Barney the flagman is hitting the hooch here a little bit early in the week.
Waved it off, wasn't ready. Pulled the wrong flag.
Yeah, and it's weird. I'm in 8th. Nobody passed me, but it's telling me to let the 7 car go by. I don't even see him on my relative.
Let's see. It's showing Bob should be 4th.
Yeah, when the problem with iRacing is when a yellow flag comes out before the field crosses the start finish line to take the green, it does a complete just heart attack. I don't know what it does or why it does it, but it really screws up everything.
So we move.
Wow. Then I'm sitting here and get rammed. That's nice.
As we wait to see the officials get everything sorted out, we've got our A&J Custom Creations 305 sprints out on the track.
Well, I don't understand why it's putting me here because I shouldn't be in field. I don't have any idea what iRacing's doing.
For not going green, it's got a lot of shake up in the starting lineup.
Well, I think there's a lot of guys that probably are not doing what iRacing's telling them. I had to stop, let the field go around, and now everybody's just stopped. Jeez Louise.
Well, it looks like, John, you've moved back up to 13th, a low of 20th at one point.
It's pretty good. I can make up those spots under caution. Nobody even saw me.
And Andy's normally on the call this night where we could blame him.
Well, we can blame him anyway. And I don't know why. I've got Barker here challenging me for the spot, but it's telling me to stay behind the 7. I don't know. I like to blame the COVID. Maybe I'm seeing things here, and I hope that's not the case. I mean, I have been hallucinatory here lately. I think I'm 3 wide under caution here.
You need the official to get out there on the track and start pointing people to the rear, I think, to get this
Yeah.
sorted out.
And now we're 1 to green, and it says stay behind the 7, and I have no idea.
We've got a 3-wide battle behind you, John.
And there goes the pit. We're going to start like this. Why not?
So the front row we know is at least Chapman, Dittmer. A gaggle of cars behind them to get this one underway. As the A&J Custom Creations 305 sprints get set to go here in the A main. And we are green at Port Royal. I say that cautiously. As Chapman's able to pull up in front of Dittmer. Dittmer out to that outside line. It looks like Chapman's going to stay to the inside through 3 and 4. Joseph Grandy following Dittmer around on that outside lane. Bob DeGood falls in line in 4th.
Well, we did make a lap, so I guess everybody shook back out. I don't know how I ended up back in 5th, and I'm sure there's a lot of guys scratching ahead. Now we get the caution. I shouldn't have said anything. I jinxed us.
Caution flag comes out for the first time. Let's take a look at our Malcolm Mill writing replay here. Showing Donovan Ross got caught up. Oh, and it looks like there it is. There was a wreck ahead of him, nowhere to go. The 514 shoots across the track and collects Donovan Ross. So he was collected at the end of that one. As it's Blake Chapman out front.
And now that I can get down into the pits, I think safely here and on the bottom, I will be joining you in the booth here in just a second.
It's probably safer for everyone.
Yes, I would agree. And I got black flag doing so. That's kind of odd.
Lined up in the wrong spot earlier, nothing, no penalty.
At least I got the pit. Last time around, didn't even get the pit. They went green before they could anybody could get to pit road.
So an interesting start to our A&J Custom Creations 305 Sprint A main here on Cool Ray Hometown Heroes. But it's Blake Chapman up front, Brandon Dittmer behind him. Joseph Grandy up to 4th, Bob DeGood rounds out. I'm sorry, Joseph Grandy 3rd, Bob DeGood in 4th. As Blake Chapman will lead us back to green here at Port Royal. Single file restart. Green flag is out. Blake Chapman sets up a good lead up against that wall. Dittmer slams into that turn 2 wall. See if that opens up the door for Grandy to make a move. As further back, Bob DeGood uses that inside line, comes off the corner high. Sight set on Joseph Grandy in 3rd.
Yeah, we'll see if anybody can get up here, though, and try to get a hold of Blake Chapman, but he is kind of checking out here a little bit. We do got a bit of a battle, though, for second.
Grandy looking to do what he did in that heat race, use that high side, and if Dittmer gives him an opening, see if he can make it work. As I say that, he'll jump to the inside in 3 and 4. As Dittmer gets into that wall coming out of 4, Grandy will get alongside him down the front stretch.
And Grandy completes the pass on kind of exit of 2, but Dittmer crosses him over. We'll see what he can do over here in 3 and 4.
Dittmer will hold on to the lead. You've got Grandy, Bob DeGood on that inside line. Great battle between Vickery and Moore Sr. as they were side by side down the front stretch. Moore will shoot out and pass DeGood as back in the pack, the 122 has issues coming out of 2. It looks like they keep it clean and green down the backstretch.
Battle for third is really heating up too between Brian Moore Sr. and Bob DeGood. Kurt Schatzer enters that battle, so we got a nice 3-car battle there for third.
Vickery starts to gain ground on them as well. Schatzer's able to get past Moore, and now he looks ahead to Bob DeGood. As this 4-car battle now as Vickery gets up there on the high side as well.
Slight contact between Moore and Vickery there. Cost Nick a little bit of momentum going into that corner, but he pulls right back up to that 558 car.
Schatzer and Bob DeGood up ahead of them battle.
Yeah, caution.
Caution comes out. It looks like it's going to be for Brian Dickens. We saw him have trouble coming out of 2 a couple laps ago.
Yeah, and he's sitting in the pits right now without a wing on. That's usually whoa, that's a heck of a ride.
Almost both of them leave the track. That's the 302 of Rayner and the 122 of Dickens.
Yeah, I'm going to bet those folks sitting in those stands right there probably are headed to the restroom right now to clean out their pants. Man, look at that.
John, I don't know if you listened. Our Light Electric Company Next Gen Series was at North Wilkesboro on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And I threw out a John Hines special of a Code Brown moment in your honor.
Threw out a Brown code moment for me. Oh, I'm proud of you, man. Awesome. But now I'm going to have to go back and watch it. I hadn't got around to doing that yet. I listened to the week before, but very cool of you. And yeah, that was definitely a Code Brown moment for everybody in probably those first 3 or 4 rows over there in that turn.
It's a full contact sport at the dirt track with the dust, the dirt. I think we've all been to a track that had clumps of dirt that would end up being thrown at you at certain times.
Yeah, and I've never for the life of me understood why you sit in the bottom 3 rows of near, especially with these sprint cars. There's no way that I would sit where I think a car could end up in my lap. We've seen them from time to time get up over fences, go through fences. Just always a bad idea to sit down. I know you get to feel the speed, see the speed, but you really should be about 5th, 6th row on back up the stands for the most part, if the stands are right along the race surface.
And John, you will find me the top row just past the start finish line.
Yeah, I'm usually top few rows coming out of turn 4, so I can get a good look at the games being played on starts.
As the iRacing pace truck dives in, I've seen Final Destination too many times.
Yes. I saw the first one. That was enough for me. I didn't watch the other ones.
I also have similar thoughts when I ride behind a semi-truck with logs in its back. And with that, Chapman will lead us back to green. He's got the lead over Dittmer. 19 laps to go now here at Port Royal Speedway. They continue to try to find a way to chase down Chapman, and this single file restart won't help them here as they come to 18 laps to go.
Yeah, Chapman wasted no time. He has moved up the track of that last run. He was on the bottom almost exclusively, but now he's up, and we got another caution.
This one seems to be for John Rayner, as he was possibly leaving the pits.
Yeah, looks like he passed the green pylons there, and then came to a stop, and that'll do that.
So we'll stack them back up. 18 laps to go. Looking through, Donovan Ross is out, John Hine is out, and joining us, Roger Craig and Brian Dickens. So 17 laps to go here for the A&J Custom Creations 305 sprints. Blake Chapman continues to lead. John, when you're running behind someone that has such a dominant car, what are you kind of doing at this point? Are you trying to figure out how to get past him? Are you trying to hold your position? What's going through your mind if you're sitting second, third right now?
If I'm sitting second, I'm trying to figure out where Blake is beating me, and right now it looks like he's beating everybody everywhere. But then try to figure out what he is doing. Try to figure out, okay, can I replicate it? Can I do better? That's the first thing. You size them up and try to figure out, okay, I'm better than him over, let's say, going into 3. Okay, that's going to be a passing opportunity. Then you got to figure out how to limit the places that he is better than you. Try to figure out, if he's really a lot better than you, let's say in 1 and 2, then you got to figure out how to get through 1 and 2 at least every bit as equally as good as he is. So once you get the lead, you can hold it.
Can you get better following someone like him?
Yes, absolutely, because you start to lift where they lift, turn in where they turn in. Yeah, you can definitely learn a lot just tucking in behind somebody and following them.
As they come to the green, the sun will pop back out. Blake Chapman leading Dittmer. Better restart there for Dittmer as he moves to that middle line through 1 and 2. Chapman still up against that wall. Joseph Grandy to the high side for third.
Well, we got a bit of a wreck on the backstretch there. It's like the 94 Gary Offit is one of those involved.
Much the 68 of Neil Strasser. Oh, yep, it looks like he and Offit got together coming off of turn number 2.
Yeah, Offit got really, really loose because now it's really slick coming out of turn 2. I tried to catch it, move down the track, and it was on from there.
So another caution here in AMJ Custom Creations. 305 sprints, A main.
Gary, it looks like Gary Offit came in, got his fast repair, as did Neil Strasser. But Jackson Lomax, who just got clipped in that, looks like he's still in the pits, and he may be done for the night here for this one.
So that will leave 19 cars out on the track, 18 cars on the lead lap. And Dittmer and Grandy continue to find a way to get past Blake Chapman up front.
This track has really, really become a lot more worn since, even more so than what the UMP feature was like. So these guys are probably now having to adjust their wings, pull them back, move them forward, to probably help with the handling of their cars. So a lot going on for these drivers right now as we get ready to go back green.
So Chapman will lead us back to green as he'll round turn number 4. Green flag waves. We're back to racing action. Single file restart here. Dittmer able to hang with Chapman there. He'll shoot to the middle line as they make their way through 1 and 2. Chapman will have momentum down the backstretch with that high line. Chapman, as low as anyone gets through 3 and 4. He's able to stretch his lead to about 4/10 that first green flag back to action. As the top 3 start to separate, it's back to Bob DeGood and Kurt Schatzer as they battle for 4th, and the caution flag comes out.
Looks like Jackson Lomax and Gary Offit. Like Jackson just sent it in a little bit hard there and slid right into Gary and then turned Gary around there. So tough night for these guys. It just got a little tougher.
So Blake Chapman stays out front as we tick away the laps here in our A main for the A&J Custom Creations 305 Sprint Car Division. Continue to make laps under caution.
This is where it's really tough as a driver. It's tough to get into a rhythm, everything else. You start to get a little frustrated because you just want to get green flag laps. And so these guys right now are going to have to take a deep breath and then kind of reset themselves and go back to work here. But, as a driver, lots of cautions really makes it harder to get going on restarts and then get through turns 1 and 2 cleanly.
With that being said, the Steve King Foundation pace truck dives on into pit road, and we will be back to green here shortly as Chapman, Dittmer, Grandy continue to be your top 3. Chapman waits a little longer this time before going green, separates from Dittmer by the time he gets to the start-finish line, and up the track, up against the wall through 1 and 2.
Good battle for that 4th place. You got Vickery, DeGood, and Schatzer. We've been kind of watching those guys good part of this race. They've continued their battle side by side now as they go down the back straightaway. But DeGood now falls back behind Vickery in the lineup here.
Vickery's able to move up to 5th. He's up 10 spots from starting 15th. Bob DeGood's fallen back to 6th. He's now back into the grips of Dan McLaren and Brian Moore Sr. As now Schatzer's looking to the inside of Grandy, trying to move up into that top 3.
Yeah, good run for old Stickers there. He's really come up through the field, and in these cars and on this track, not an easy task here. So, I'm sure he wants to be a few spots higher here, but I can tell you he's probably pretty happy with the progress he's made so far.
Dan McLaren looking to the outside of Bob DeGood. That's a battle for 6th. They're stack up behind him as Salas and Moore get together coming out of turn number 2. As we're
As I say, Bob seems to be struggling. The slicker gets out there. I'm noticing the back end of that car is moving around a lot more, and now he's really holding up the guys that are right behind him.
He's got McLaren, Salas, and Moore behind him. They're all battling for position as well. As Chapman now leads with 8 laps to go, we're into single digits. Up front, Kurt Schatzer's able to get past Joseph Grandy. That moves him up to 3rd, and now Nicholas Vickery looks to the inside of Grandy coming out of 4.
That 00 is looking for another spot for sure here. Wants to step up onto the podium.
Looks to be setting up Grandy as he falls in line behind him. 6 laps to go. It's Blake Chapman up front. He's got over a 2-second lead currently. This is your 3rd, 4th, and 5th place cars.
We got another caution.
Caution will come out. It looks like this one could have included Bob DeGood.
Yeah, Bob just got turned around there by the 88 of Dan McLaren. Can't tell if Bob got a little loose or the 88 might have just carried a little more momentum there and just couldn't stay off of him.
That one also collected Isaac Salas. Both of them were running in the top 10 at the time of that caution.
Yeah, tough break for those guys. But I tell you, Travis, that top four, especially second through fourth, I think unless someone abducts Blake out of that car, I think he's probably forgot this on lock. He's going to have to make a pretty big mistake. But that second through, fifth, those cats, this is going to be exciting to watch these guys here at the end.
Yeah, closing up that gap for Vickery, Schatzer, Grandy, and even McLaren back there, getting them a chance up there at Dittmer and Chapman should be fun to watch. And you can see how dark and wide this racetrack has gotten during the course of this race.
Yeah, and this is where guys that have throttle control have an advantage. You know, the ones that have better throttle control here, because it's so easy to spin the tires. Even with these low power cars, you can still spin them. You know, you can still get the back end out of shape. This is the time where guys can really rise to it if they're really good with their car control and especially their throttle control.
So it's going to be handful of laps to go when we go back to green. This is going to be Blake Chapman, Brandon Dittmer, Kurt Schatzer, Joseph Grandy, and Nicholas Vickery, your top five.
Dittmer needs to get the start of the night for him here and hold pace. Don't let Blake get away here on this start.
And they will go back to green. Chapman will get a small gap between him and Dittmer as they go through 1 and 2. Chapman up on that high side, Dittmer following him around. Really the top 6 all in that outside line. You have to go back to Brian Moore in 7th for someone looking to that inside. 3 laps to go this time by.
And the top 5 as they cross the start-finish line has stayed in the order that they took the green flag in. But I tell you, the closest battle is for that 4th and 5th spot between Grandy and Vickery.
Dan McLaren right behind Vickery as well. 2 laps to go. It's still Chapman, Dittmer, Schatzer, your top 3. Blake Chapman looking to run this one to victory from start to finish as his gap stretches to about 7/10 over Dittmer as he comes to the white flag.
We got 1 to go here, and the top 5 have maintained, but again, Dittmer into the wall a little bit. Let's see if that opens the door here for Schatzer.
Schatzer will look unable to make the pass coming out of turn 4.
Vickery's got him.
Blake Chapman will win. Dittmer second, Schatzer, and coming home 4th will be Nicholas Vickery.
Yeah, Grandy went low in 3 and 4, and it killed his momentum, and Vickery rode that top and just able to take that momentum right past him down that straightaway to the start-finish line.
So a great finish here at Port Royal Speedway. It's going to be Blake Chapman, your winner. The rest of the lineup will look like this. Blake Chapman's your winner. Brandon Dittmer second. Kurt Schatzer, Nicholas Vickery, Joseph Grandy round out your top 5. 6, Dan McLaren, Randy Shreves, Brian Moore, Gary Taylor, Nathan Aldridge, your top 10. 11th, Jeffrey Kemper, Dean Reynolds, Neil Strasser, Jeffrey Barker, Dale White, 15th. 16th will be Bob DeGood, John Rayner, Isaac Salas, Jackson Lomax, and Gary Offit, 20th. And rounding out the field, Brian Dickens, Roger Craig, Donovan Ross, and John Hine. So as we pull into victory lane, we will talk to our top 3 finishers. And joining us first is our 3rd place finisher, Kurt Schatzer.
Kurt, this is John. You got a copy?
Yeah, I hear you, John. How you doing?
Not too bad, man. You had a really nice run through there. Talk to me about how you got up to the podium there and then navigated what looked to be a pretty difficult track here tonight.
Yeah, it got slicker, but just used some patience there to navigate up through there and pick and choose when to make my moves. Um, yeah, it was a good race.
When you talk about pick and choosing your moves, how do you make those decisions? You more of a, hey, I'm going to wait and see if they make a mistake, or do you start trying to feel them out and pressuring them? What tactic do you kind of like to use and find that it works for you?
Well, I always love seeing them make a mistake and allow me to get a run on them, but I mean, I'd kind of just judge if the run I get off the corner, how much of run I got on them, depending on what move I make going into the corner, or I just follow them and see how close I can get to them before I dart and try to make my move.
Well, I tell you, you had a nice finish there tonight. Anybody want to give a shout out to here for a podium?
Yeah, I gotta thank Dirt Track Bank. They're awesome sponsor. They do a lot to take care of dirt track racing guys around the country. Um, Got Your Six Racing Network, Extreme E Speed TV, VMR Rap. Nick does a good job keeping us all looking good here on the team. Hammer Down Racing, all the guys: Brandon Templeton, Brian Dickens, and Joe Halter.
Well, awesome. Are we going to see you in the 360s?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe I'll jump over there.
Well, good luck over there. Hopefully, we'll talk to you a little later tonight. That's Kurt Schatzer, our third place finisher in the 305 Sprint Car Division.
Now joining us, our second place finisher. It's the 83 of Brandon Dittmer. Brandon, it's Travis. You got a copy?
Yeah, gotcha.
So, Brandon, you had a great run tonight. Come home second. You had plenty of attempts to try to get something on Blake on those restarts. What's going through your head as you have time after time those restarts to close that gap up?
Just don't get too far over the cushion. I did a couple times, got into the wall, good amount. But just try not to lose them and hold a consistent gap that I could continue to run down, but I just couldn't do it.
We talked about you obviously being behind Blake a majority of this race. Was there anything you can learn from someone that's one that good, but just being behind them for a 30 lap feature? Is there anything you can pick up from them?
I've been behind Blake in that situation most of the season in 305s, and I can't figure out what he's doing different that really take that car to the next level. I don't understand it.
Will you be jumping in the 360s next?
I will not be.
Gotcha. Well, great finish tonight here in the 305s. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to tonight?
No sponsors, but you guys for the broadcast, coast to coast for the league. I always love running here with everybody. Warrior Raps for the scheme. About it for tonight.
Well, great run tonight, Brandon. We hopefully will see you again soon.
And it sounds good. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
That is Brandon Dittmer, your second place finisher. And now joining us from Port Royal Speedway Victory Lane, it's your winner, Blake Chapman.
Yeah, as he climbs out of the car, I think I heard him say, hey, the Galen's is on me this week. I tell you, man, Blake, that was dominant. Walk me through your race.
Yeah, well, John, from the drop of the hammer there, I was feeling pretty comfortable. Especially at the beginning, there really wasn't much down low in 1 and 2, so I was high, wide, and handsome up there. But in 3 and 4, there was still a lot of moisture down there on the bottom, so I was able to dig and claw down there a little bit, especially at the start to get a good run coming off the bottom. Eventually, that got too thin, and I had to go back up top, but. Yeah, the car felt really good tonight. I had to go into tire saving mode there for just a little bit before that last caution came out, but it was a lot of fun running that cushion. Just gotta keep it out of the wall, which can be tricky sometimes.
Well, I know you didn't have much to look at out front like that, but the one thing I'm sure you were paying attention to was the track changing. How much did that track change through the course of that feature?
Well, like I said, the bottom in 3 and 4 was really good at the start, and then that eventually just went away. It just got too thin down there. It was too hard to hit consistently. And I know Brandon on the restarts, he got a good run on me in the middle in 1 and 2, but he couldn't hold it really coming out of the corner that well. So he ditched that line. I know he went up top then. So It changed quite a bit. It got pretty slick out there with a high car count, though. You bank on that. So, yeah, I know the top was really the only way around there at the end of the race, and I was just happy to be out in front and not have to worry about getting around cars on a one-lane track.
Well, man, you did a good job and didn't make any mistakes, it didn't look like, and were able to bring it home. So I'll have to give you my address to send that Galen's to, huh?
Oh, yeah.
All right, man. Hey, congratulations again. Who would you like to give a shout out to?
Of course, Galen's on me this week. I got to give a shout out to Galen's Gourmet Popcorn. Head over to their website, use code CART, C-A-R-T, at checkout for 15% off some of their delicious popcorn. As you know, John, I got to give a shout out to Preston at Epsilon Sprint Wraps for making all my cars look pretty, and all the Krite Sim Racing boys. And, of course, I got to thank my parents and grandparents, Steve Bixler, everybody watching and supporting you guys for putting this on every week.
They need to come up with a code, Blake's Buy-In. That would just be perfect. Hey, man, congratulations again. And well, I presume we'll see you in the 360s, or are you done for the night?
I think I'll be done for the night. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I think I'll be done for the night.
Oh, come run the 360s, man. Come on.
School tomorrow, John. School tomorrow. Got to get to bed.
Where are your priorities? It's racing. Now your parents are like, yeah, don't listen to that guy. But hey, congratulations again. Hit those books, and we'll see you on down the road.
Thanks, John.
Yep, that's Blake Chapman, our 305 feature winner.
So our AJ Custom Creations 305 sprints comes to a close. It's going to be Blake Chapman, your A-main winner here tonight at Cool Ray Hometown Heroes Night. With that, we're going to head to our final break of the night. When we come back, we'll have our 360 sprints live from Port Royal Speedway.
leader in our industry. The lifetime parts and labor warranty is pretty awesome. Basically, all the parts are covered, the labor and everything.
When we say lifetime, we mean lifetime, and it's supported with money-back guarantees. And with that, you're getting all qualified technicians that are going to ensure that this job is done perfectly and operates perfectly throughout the life of the unit.
Learn more about our Coolray lifetime parts and labor warranty at Coolray.com. Coolray and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
Welcome back to Port Royal Speedway as we have our 360 sprints, our final part of tonight's Coolray Hometown Heroes. And it looks like my partner in crime is out there in his 71 machine. John, what should we expect tonight here with the 360s?
Well, I'm going to go right up here real quick, and this is where I think we got to keep our eye out because these cars carry so much more momentum. But right here, you see this wall? You said 3 different walls. You have one right next to the car here. Then you have this wall, and it runs all the way out. But now look here, right up on the slick, you come to a stop, and all of a sudden there's another wall here. This here is going to give guys trouble here tonight. As they're coming around in these cars, a lot of these guys are going to try to run the top. You've got 3 different viewpoints that you've got to look at and keep your car off of visually, because if you get in any one of those 3, we saw guys end up on the other side of these and create that Code Brown moment for the fans. So anybody that's running up top there, that's what we got to look up for. And then down here, if I can get down here before these guys catch me, there's this bump right here, can really upset you. So right here where it says Port Speedway, right after you hit that bump, you can end up in the wall right here. So those are going to be the 2 times, but I'm telling you, over there in 3 and 4, that's where I expect the real calamity to happen here tonight, because it's going to be really tough, because as we get going here, the groove is going to be right up here. Guys are going to be dancing right along here, and then you got the one wall. This one comes out to you, and then this one falls away from you. So, I mean, when you're at speed, it just creates such a weird visual cue on where you're supposed to have your car. And if you get racing people, you can lose track of where you're at and catch that wall easy.
So with that, our practice session goes on to our ABR Setup Shop qualifying session. Great insights, as always, by John Hine there, especially at a unique track like this of Port Royal. So we had the UMP modifieds, we had our 305s, and now we move on to our 360 sprint.
Yeah, and oddly enough, I won last week's race. And I think that was until tonight the last time that I actually raced anything.
So we will see guys start to make their qualifying times. Preston Kramer's out there. Looks like Joseph Grandy's going to be the first to go. A 15.99 is the fastest thus far.
What's crazy is it's been such a weird week for me with battling COVID and everything else. I won that race, but I don't even remember that race. I couldn't tell you a single thing that happened about it or anything. I just looked at the results, and when I saw my name up there, I was like, well, look at that. Didn't even remember it. just kind of one of those. It's really weird to have that happen to you.
Maybe you should run out of your mind every evening.
It's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm trying to figure out who I probably wrecked along the way, and probably should go back and see if I can find it and send some belated apologies out to some folks.
You know, I read Dale Jr.'s book about his concussions, and he has races that he won and raced in that are just completely gone. And I think I've heard the same about Dale Jarrett too. There's large parts of Dale Jarrett's career that he doesn't remember.
Yeah, I've had a couple of concussions, and there's times, I don't remember getting to a track. I don't remember leaving a track. The weekends that I don't remember. I never had anything where, parts of my career were gone, but definitely weekends. I definitely have more than one weekend that I couldn't recall a single thing about it. And it is kind of bizarre, especially when you have it happen more than once. It's just you feel like while you've only missed a weekend, you almost feel like you've missed, like, I don't know, a year of your life or something over that weekend.
Well, we're glad to have you back, John. We've got 15 cars that have made laps. Joseph Grandy continues his fast night as he is the fastest here in this ABR setup shop qualifying session for the 360 sprints.
Yeah, and I have DQ'd myself, so I'm not even going to turn a lap or even do a lap of practice here. I just wanted to be out on the track so I could show you guys that turn 4 there, but yeah, I'm throwing the towel in for the night. I need some oxygen. Who says iRacing can't be a sport on some level?
Exactly. And with that, ABR setup shop qualifying session comes to an end. That means we move on to our Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1.
Yeah, and here we go. On the pole is going to be the Brewerton Beast. That's got 513. That's Mr. Jeff Barker. On the outside is going to be the 122. That's Brian Dickens. Starting in the inside, row number 2, that's going to be Stickers. That's Nick Vickery. And his outside is going to be the quick qualifier tonight. It's going to be Joseph Grandy. Starting 5th is going to be Dan McLaren. Next to him is going to be the 07 of the 8-Lit Outlaw. That's going to be Preston Kramer. Starting 7th is going to be Nate Aldridge, and rounding out the field in 8th is going to be the captain. It's going to be the 34 of Gary Taylor.
So, Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1, as all night, 8 laps, no cautions. iRacing Pace Truck should pull in this time by, as he does. And that means Jeffrey Barker, Dickens will be your front row leading us to green. Of course, these results will set our lineup for the A main. We should have 2 heats tonight here in the 360s. Come out of turn number 4 that long way down the front stretch here at Port Royal. And heat race number 1 is underway. Great start by Dickens there on that outside line. He'll be able to pull ahead of Barker as they go through 1 and 2 side by side down the backstretch. Grandy looks for a move on that outside line.
Yeah, and you can immediately see the speed difference between the 305s and these 360s. These guys are hauling the mail, and they are nose to tail at these speeds.
Nice move by Vickery. He'll move up to 3rd as they get single file there. Sparks fly as they're up against that guardrail, and it's Dickens out front with 6 laps to go.
Yeah, the top 3 now have broken away a little bit. Jeff Barker is holding down that final transfer spot for the heat. But I do believe everybody will make it, so there probably will not be a B. But right now, Barker is a little bit behind those top 3, though. We got a battle for second, side by side between Nick Vickery and Joseph Grandy is going to go for a 2-for-1. He gained the 2 briefly, and now he's going to lose the 2 as he goes down the backstretch.
Great battle for the lead. Dickens leads Grandy. Vickery there in 3rd, all up along the outside guardrail. It's Langton Mechanical Heat Race number 1. Sparks continue to fly as Grandy is right up against that guardrail. Opens the door for Vickery on the inside. It's going to be Dickens coming out of turn 4 for that white flag.
Grandy crosses over Vickery as they go down the front stretch. We'll see if Nick takes another stab at it over in 3 and 4.
Good run for Vickery through 1 and 2. See if he has an opening here in 3 and 4. He'll fall in line up against Grandy. Coming out of turn 4, it's going to be Brian Dickens, your Langton Mechanical Heat Race #1 victor.
Spirited battle there for those top 3.
Your finishing lineup for Langton Mechanical Heat Race #1. Brian Dickens, Joseph Grandy, Nick Vickery, Preston Kramer, Jeffrey Barker, your top 5. 6 is Aldridge, McLaren, and Gary Taylor rounds out your field.
Heat race #2, I think, is going to have the points leader in this division. If I read it correctly, I may not have, but is going to be the 181 of Jeff Kemper. To his outside is going to be Randy Shreve. Starting in that second row is going to be the 218 of Kurt Schatzer. Next to him will be the 377 of Destin Sargent. Starting fifth will be Devo. That's going to be Donovan Ross there. To his outside is going to be Dean Reynolds. And rounding out the field here is going to be the number 7 of Bob DeGood. Next to him will be the 302 of Mr. John Rayner.
So they make their way down the backstretch. Magnum Race Design Heat Race #2. Jeffrey Kemper, Randy Shreves will lead us to green 8 more laps. This will set the field for our A main in the 360 sprints. And we are underway. Great start by Randy Shreves in that outside line. You've got the 181 of Kemper to the inside. Kurt Schatzer will slide up into that third spot on the outside line up in front of Sargent.
A little contact between Schatzer and Sargent. No, Sargent just drills Devo there after the contact there, and that's going to end Devo's heat race.
Up front, we've got 3 battling for the lead. It's Shreves, Kemper, Schatzer as they come 6 laps to go this time by. Schatzer's able to get past Kemper to the outside as now he sets his sights on Shreves for the lead.
Now Schatzer really have a nice run in that 305. Well, that little extra power has seemed to not shake him at all here. He's all over the back of Shreves as they go into turn 1 and 2 here.
You see how rough that is between 1 and 2. Schatzer's right on the tail of Shreves this time by, follows him around the high side in 3 and 4 and sets sails down the front stretch right in the tracks of the 56.
Yeah, and that roughness, that's a big reason why I parked the car after practice there. I couldn't compute through my brain quick enough what I needed to do to get through there. These guys are having to do all of that, and oh, by the way, not hit each other when they're doing it.
This time in 1 and 2, Schatzer will pull a slide job on Shreves. Shreves will battle back on the inside. They're side by side going into turn number 3. Shreves will regain the lead. Schatzer now moves to the inside. He'll stay low through 1 and 2. Slide back up in front of that 56. Try to keep his momentum as he'll hold on to the lead down the backstretch. And oh, they get together into turn 3. Shreves will take the lead as around goes Schatzer. Schatzer will fall back to 4th.
Wow, that's about as close as you can get there without wrecking. A lot of contact, and they got pretty sideways, but they're able to keep it going in the right direction.
And heat race number 2 will go to Randy Shreves, Jeffrey Kemper, Dean Reynolds 3rd, Kurt Schatzer 4th. The rest of your finish order for heat race number 2, Bob DeGood 5th, 6th, Sargent, Ross 7th, and Rayner in 8th. We will now go to our Flatline Racing Bodies intermission. Great battle there with Shreves and Schatzer. Vickery looked fast. Dean Reynolds was fast as well. Should have a handful, half a dozen guys here that could win this 360 sprint race tonight, John.
Absolutely, and the track conditions are going to be pretty good. I mean, there's not a lot of wear into them, so we saw the track really slick over from top to bottom in that last race. I don't think you're going to see that here with this one, but I tell you, that's going to allow some guys to try those slide jobs like what we were seeing, and maybe even try some things that we haven't seen anybody do, like try to run that bottom exclusively, or even start diamonding these corners. When I say that, I mean going in high and then just driving right down the hill, going from the high side to the low side as you exit the corner. I think you're going to see a lot of different things, and guys are going to have to be really aware of who's around them, what they're doing, because when you start changing lanes and doing that kind of stuff, contact is real easy to have happen.
So cars are making laps around the track. Joseph Grandy, another one that was fast in the heats, he's atop the charts right now with a 16.26. Dan McLaren, a great lap as well.
And I am watching guys struggle keeping their cars off the wall. I know last week, or not last week, but the last time that I've run these cars here, I remember that it was a big struggle on 3 and 4, but tonight, these guys are looking like they're having trouble keeping it out of the wall in 1 and 2.
Seeing a lot of sparks flying as they make their way through that corner.
Yeah, I think they're being really conservative, judging by their line over in 3 and 4. They're really not wanting to test their fate against the 3 different walls there. So I think that's what might be keeping them out down there. But 3 and 4, they seem to be a little bit more aggressive on the corner entry, and it's getting them into the wall, and they're brushing the wall an awful lot down there.
As our flatline racing body's intermission will come to an end, we will head on to our last racing portion of tonight. It is our 360 Sprints A main from Port Royal Speedway as the cars start to get gridded out on the track. We will have 16 cars in this event. And John, you've got our starting lineup.
Yeah, here we go. The 122, Mr. Brian Dickens is going to have the pole to his outside. We saw him in that second heat race just now win it. That's going to be the 56 of Randy Shreves. Next row will be the 518 of Joseph Grandy. Next to him will be the 181 of Jeff Kemper. Starting fifth on the field is going to be Stickers. That's going to be the double zero. That's going to be Nick Vickery. To his outside will be Dean Reynolds in the 790. Next row will be the A-Lit Outlaw. That's going to be starting in seventh is going to be the car 07. That's going to be Preston Kramer. And to his outside will be Kurt Schatzer in the 218. Starting ninth is going to be the 513. That's a Brewerton Beast. That's going to be Jeff Barker next to him. That's going to be his buddy there. That's number 7 there of Bob DeGood. Nate Aldridge is going to start the next row on the inside. To his outside will be the 377 of Dustin Sargent. Starting 13th will be the 88 of Dan McLaren. And at his outside will be the number 5 of Donovan Ross. And rounding out the field is going to be the 34 of Gary Taylor. And to his outside will be the 302 of John Rayner. Whew, that took a lot.
We'll give John a couple laps to regroup, as it's going to be Dickens, Shreves, that front row, bringing us to green here. 30 laps in our A main here, as Dickens and Shreves make their way down the front stretch at Port Royal. And our A main for the 360 Sprints is underway. Grandy will get sideways, see if they can keep it straight coming up for. Kemper will be collected there, and we will have our first caution of the night.
Boy, that was a hard hit that Kemper took. But yeah, it looked like Grandy started this by getting really sideways. Everybody was trying to make evasive action, and it looked like Kemper just caught the front of Grandy's car as he was going by and turned him right into the path of the 7 of Bob DeGood. Poor Bob didn't have anywhere to go.
It's a helpless feeling when that
It
happens.
is. It absolutely is. And it's one of those where you just kind of close your eyes and wait for the thump.
So we will let them get lined back up. As we'll see Grandy, who got sideways coming out of 4, will hold on to his 3rd position. It's Jeffrey Kemper and Bob DeGood that will go to the rear. See if the Steve King Foundation pace truck turns off his lights this time by, which he does. That means we will go back to racing action next time by. So Brian Dickens in that 122 will bring us back to green. He's got Randy Shreves right behind him, Joseph Grandy, Nicholas Vickery, and Dean Reynolds will round out your top 5 currently. And back to green we go, coming out of turn number 4. Dickens staying high, Shreves not far behind him. Grandy gets sideways again coming out of turn number 2. Vickery will look to his inside, take that 3rd position from Grandy. Grandy now right behind that 00 of Vickery through 1 and 2. Dean Reynolds still running 5th. Behind him, though, it's Kramer, Schatzer, and Barker battling for 6th.
Early on, we got a couple of clusters of cars that are really battling out pretty hard here.
Up front, Shreves.
Oh, big wreck on the backstretch.
And it looks like Preston Kramer's involved in this one.
Yeah, and Kurt Schatzer, it looked like Dean Reynolds got really loose coming out of the corner and just drove it straight down the track, and Schatzer had nowhere to go.
Schatzer lost his wing.
I think Schatzer lost more than that. I lost track of how many barrel rolls he did.
Schatzer gave the thumbs up, so he's good to go. The safety in these cars is unbelievable.
You know, the first time I ever got upside down in a car was in a sprint car, and I remember very vividly that I remember talking to the pits with the guy that owned the car. I was like, man, I can't wait to hit something just, you know, so I know that I'm okay. That's what and just kind of half tongue in cheek. And, you know, he looked at me, son, he's looked at me and said, son, don't run into anything. And I hooked her, well, I went out to qualify, I hooked a rut to the water truck, and sure enough, end over end 6 times. And, I remember pulling into the pits there in the back of that ambulance, and they were going to let me out at my pits because I checked out for everything, and I could see the car owner through the back windows of the ambulance. I was like, can't you guys just transport me? Doors threw open, and I looked at him, didn't even look at me, and was like, hey, is he all right? And they were like, yes, he is. He told them to get that backup off and threw me right back in the car.
You can get back on out there.
Yeah, I tell you that. But it did make me feel a little better. I was like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah, once you've had that hit, you know the feeling. You're good to go.
Yeah, it was a strange, a weird way to gain confidence. It was about the 3rd race that I in on those things, and I couldn't believe, because coming from a late model to these, the cornering speed in the center of the corners, it was just night and day, and it was scary fast at that point. Just because I thought, oh my God, if we hit something, you're done, you're over.
And the 360s here go back to green. Great restart by Dickens there. Schatzer is back out on the track as well, so he's good to go. You can see him there at the tail end right in front of the leaders. And Shreves makes a move on Dickens going through 3 and 4. A great lap by Shreves, and they'll be side by side at the line. Dickens battles back. Ooh, Shreves will get into victory, and Grandy coming out of turn 2. Green flag states caution will come out.
Well, that was a tough break for Nick and Grandy. And again, we see a car that's just getting loose coming off the corner, chasing it down the hill and wiping out the guys that are right behind them. We saw that happen to Grandy on the first lap. We just saw it a second ago, and now yet again. So, boy, these guys are having a hard time getting that power down and hooking that back end up coming out of the corners.
So that will move Grandy to the rear after being caught up in that one.
Looks like Nick is back in third, but so they didn't blame the caution, but I have to wonder if Nick didn't sustain some damage. That was a pretty good shot that he took. His car looks fine, but that doesn't always mean it is. I almost want to say Nick's front axle, his left front axle might be have a little bit of damage to it.
It does look like that left front tire is pointed inward.
Yeah.
As it looked like Shreves came across his nose from the right, and then he went into that inside wall with Grandy. And as of right now, the guy that got loose and come across the tracks scored as our leader.
His truck's off here. I think the guy to watch, though, on this start is going to be that 00 to see if he has any damage. He'll know as soon as he tries to throw that car into turn 1.
So 24 laps to go. Shreves is up front. Dickens behind him. Vickery in that 00. Good run in the 88 for Dan McLaren as they go back to green. He's up 8 spots to 5th as Shreves leads them around 1 and 2. Vickery makes it through 1 and 2 as he's got Dean Reynolds to his inside. And while it looks like that 00 does have that left front damage, he's able to go, and he continues to hold on to that 3rd position, John.
Yeah, but those other guys have run off for him, so he's not quite he doesn't quite have the pace as what he did. But now his teammate Dan McLaren is starting to challenge for that position.
Dan McLaren will move to the inside through 3 and 4, try to get that position. As Vickery's
now Nick's really in trouble.
Got into that outside wall, and the caution will come out.
Well, that'll give him a shot to try to get that car fixed, providing they don't go back to green that quick.
And 20 laps to go here in our A main.
Nick's just going to opt to put her on the trailer. He's done. He should come up here to the booth. Get a conversation what the track is like and what's going on out there.
He may have left.
Yeah, I think he disconnected all the way around, but that's all right. My guess is that's a little bit of a rage quit. And rightfully so, to be honest with you.
We got him coming. He's coming up.
Oh, he is coming up.
Joining us in the booth, looks like Nicholas Vickery. Nicholas, looks like you're going to wrap it up for the night.
Yeah, there's some unfortunate contact. It was a racing deal there in 1 and 2, and I got together with I think it was Randy Shreves, and then me and Grandy. We just really had nowhere to go, and my left front I heard was at about a 40-degree angle, so I was just trying to stay out there and salvage maybe a top 5, top 10, and it just didn't quite work out like that. And I made contact with the wall in 3 and 4 and ended the night.
Nick, I have a quick question. These guys are seeming to get into trouble coming off the corners here. It's happened now 3 or 4 times, just spinning the tires and getting their car sideways. Tell us just how difficult it is right now to get off these corners.
Yeah, you either got to play with the wing or play with the throttle pretty heavy, and 3 and 4 is a little bit worse, I think, than 1 and 2. Coming off 4, once that grip goes away on the top, you really can push yourself right up into that wall, that pit exit wall that's right there on 4, and you just got to be really careful. We came from the 305s before this race, so running the 360s, they got quite a bit more power, and it's really, really easy to spin them up.
Joining us in the booth right now is Nicholas Vickery. He was racing up front before some contact. Ends his night early here at Port Royal Speedway. They make their way around 3 and 4. It's going to be Randy Shreves, Brian Dickens, Dan McLaren leading us back to green as they make their way out of 4. Shreves will lead us to green. Good restart there. Gets a gap on Dickens as they go into 1 and 2. Dan McLaren's good night continues as he battles for second, moving up 10 spots thus far into that top 3.
Yeah, Dan's been having a good run there. And Nick, while we have you real quick, is there any other lane you think can be viable? McLaren's running the middle and making up ground, but is that going to last through the race, you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the top's going to get really, really treacherous, and I think you'll see guys starting to run the bottom. I know Dean was making up quite a bit of ground, and Grandy was making up quite a bit of ground on the bottom as well. So I would hazard to guess that the bottom will come in there at the end of the race.
And we got a good battle for the lead right now between Shreves and Dickens. Dickens gets into the wall a little bit and gets squirrely. McLaren misses him and takes over second.
Dickens will fall all the way back to 5th. 6th. Oh, and contact with Dean Reynolds on the front stretch. We'll see if they can keep it straight and keep it green, which so far they do. We've got 16 laps to go. Out front, it's Randy Shreves, and the caution will come back out.
Yeah, and Dickens, evidently his troubles carried all the way down there into turn 1 and 2. Oh, then he really gets into that looked like neck code. I think we saw this, I don't remember where, but.
We did. I think it was here.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like there's like a wall sticking out there.
Yeah, where the guy just stopped on a dime.
Yeah. That's bizarre. Because he didn't hit the wall hard enough to just stop like that and go straight up in the air. It reminds me when that wall used to stick out at Weedsport.
Well, before we let you go, Nicholas, we've seen the leader set the pace and set the tone. What's someone going to have to do to be able to make a pass for the lead and clear them out to grab a victory tonight?
So I think we've seen pretty much all night that obviously the leader controls the restart. So if the leader gets a good 3 or 4 car length jump on the rest of the field, it's really, really hard to track him down at this track. So I think it would definitely take a good restart by the guy in second or third place, and then it really takes the guys in second and third not racing each other, because if you do that, then the leader's just going to pull away, because if you're sliding each other and having to check up for each other, you're just letting him walk right away on a track that's a decent size. So I think it's going to take a good restart. It's going to take guys not battling behind the leader, and then it's going to take somebody finding another lane aside from the top. I'm assuming that's what he's still running up front, but it's going to take somebody running a line that's just as fast, if not faster, than what the leader's running.
Last question is here real fast. Were you messing with the wing already? And if so, how far did you have it pulled back?
Yeah, I think right before the contact there between Shreves and Grandy, I think I had it at 4. It was getting a little wild there on the top, so I decided to move my wing back a little bit, and I didn't really lose any speed on straightaway having it at a 4, but I think with the track state the way it is now, you may want to have it a little bit further back.
10-4. Thank you for joining us, Nick. We'll talk at you down the road. We're going to go back green.
All right, guys. Good luck.
That was Nicholas Vickery. Currently scored 13th after some early caution in this race, or early contact in this race. Up front, it's Randy Shreves leading us back to green. Dan McLaren up to second, Dustin Sargent up to third, as we've got 15 laps to go, and we've got a battle for the lead, John.
We sure do, and one on the top, one on the bottom. Nick said that bottom may become viable. We're finding out right now.
And that was a dominant corner for Dan McLaren. Not only does he take the lead, but he gets some space between he and Shreves as well. And he's setting sail as he'll take over the lead, as Dean Reynolds is making some moves backwards here, as Preston Kramer will take over the fourth spot.
Yeah, and the third place car, Dalton Sargent, is also on the bottom, and he is closing in on Shreves right now, ever so slightly. But boy, I tell you, McLaren, he's really adjusted to that bottom, and now Shreves moves to the bottom.
12 laps to go here at Port Royal Speedway. McLaren, Shreves, Sargent, Kramer all running that inside line. It looks like Dean Reynolds has moved to that outside line too. You got to go back to sixth. That's the 218 of Kurt Schatzer, who's still running that higher line. See Schatzer to the outside of Dean Reynolds. That is a battle for sixth and fifth, as Schatzer will take over a top 5 spot there. And now it's Jeffrey Barker up to the rear of Dean Reynolds. Shreves has closed the gap a little bit on Dan McLaren. 10 laps to go. Shreves has now moved down to that inside line as well. And they have separated themselves from the third place car of Sargent. Now single digits, only 9 laps to go.
Well, Shreves has got to try to figure out where to get around McLaren. They're both basically running the same line here, and you got to pass them where they're not. So Randy is really going to school trying to figure out where he can get a run on McLaren and make a move here.
So McLaren continues to lead. Tries to block an attempt by Shreves. They're nose to tail at the line. Shreves will move up alongside McLaren through 1 and 2. Down the backstretch, they're side by side. Shreves looks to have an edge going into turn number 3. As he gets that inside line, he'll come off of turn 4, and he will take the lead this time by.
With about 5 to go, 6 to go here, and now McLaren is trying to answer back just to his outside.
McLaren looking to make something happen, now running that middle line as Shreves is inside of him. They'll be nose to tail this time by 5 laps to go here at Port Royal. Great momentum for McLaren through 1 and 2. See if he can get up alongside Shreves as they go into 3.
Yeah, he got into that slick as he exited the corner, and it just stalled him out a little bit.
While they battle up front, that opens the door for the 377 of Dustin Sargent. He's up against the wall, makes contact this time by, but he is closing that gap on the front too.
Yeah, and he is up against the wall once again in 3 and 4 and gets just this monster run down the front stretch.
3 laps to go. It's Randy Shreves out front. He's got McLaren and Sargent side by side behind him down the backstretch. Coming to 2 laps to go, McLaren will move back down to that inside line, trying to do whatever he can to get up to Shreves. But now Sargent makes a move for second.
Yeah, and Sargent has got it. Laps are winding down here. He's only going to have 1 more lap here after this.
Great momentum coming off of turn 4. He'll close that gap on Shreves. White flag for Randy Shreves. He drifts up a little bit in 2. Sargent's right on his tail down the backstretch. 2 more corners to go.
Yeah, when he drifted up, it broke his momentum, and here comes Sargent on the outside.
And at the line, it's going to be Shreves just beating Sargent. It looked like Sargent got into the front stretch wall there, John. Might have cost him the win.
I think it did. That was, oh my gosh, that was close. What a race.
Great end to our Coolray hometown heroes tonight at Port Royal Speedway. It's going to be Randy Shreves, Dustin Sargent, Dan McLaren, your top 3 finishers. And as they head to Victory Lane, we will chat with them shortly. Your finishing lineup for tonight's feature event: Randy Shreves, Dustin Sargent, Dan McLaren, Dean Reynolds, and Jeffrey Barker round out your top 5. Gary Taylor, Nathan Aldridge, Preston Kramer, Kurt Schatzer, Jeffrey Kemper, your top 10. Remainder of the field, Bob DeGood, Brian Dickens, Nicholas Vickery, Joseph Grandy, Donovan Ross, and John Rayner. And as we head to victory lane, we will wait for the top 3 to join us here in the booth, as we'll talk to Randy Shreves, Dustin Sargent, and Dan McLaren.
Yeah, what a great finish these guys had, and they're going to enjoy going back and watching that. I hope they save the replay because they can keep that for a while here, and that's one that you want to go back and watch over and over again, especially when you're involved. It doesn't matter if you finish first or second. Those are cool to be involved with.
And it looks like the top 3 will join us. John, it looks like you've got our 3rd place finisher, Dan McLaren.
Hey, guys.
Dan, this is John. You got a copy?
Hey, John. How are you?
I'm good, man. I tell you, you're close there, and you guys really had figured that track out. You were the first one, I think, to go down there and make that bottom work. Tell me how you did it, and how dejected were you when you realized your secret got out and other guys were going down there?
Well, I was just experimenting with the wing, and everybody's running the top, so I said, heck, why not try the bottom? And it stuck and got the lead, but it wore out, and once I got past Randy, he saw that and chased me back down, and it was a good battle. It was a lot of fun. So congrats to him on the win.
When you realized that, how many laps did it take you, should I say, that you realized that bottom was working? Was it almost instantaneous? You're like, oh, hey, that worked. I mean, was it from a lap time, or could you visually see that you caught a guy in front of you? How quickly did you realize that was viable?
Well, after every restart, I kept going down there, and I realized I kept getting a spot, and then just said, you know what, might as well just stay down there and see if it sticks, and it did. And I just hope I could, I just wish I could have brought the win home.
Well, Bud, I tell you, it was enjoyable to watch you, and you did a heck of a job there bringing her home on the podium here. And I'm sure a win is not too far off in the distance. Who would you like to give a shout out to tonight?
Spartan Racing, Coast to Coast Racing League, VMR Wraps, and you guys for putting on a good broadcast for all the viewers.
Well, congratulations again, Dan. That's Dan McLaren, our 3rd place finisher tonight in the 360 Sprint Cars.
Cheers, guys.
Joining us next is our 2nd place finisher. It's Dustin Sargent in the 377. Dustin, the last 10 laps, you really came to life and then made that great run for the finish. Could you kind of walk us through what you had going on, especially there at the finish of that race?
Well, I was, had an incident in my heat race, so I was just trying to be patient and, work my way up from the back, just kind of let the cautions sort themselves out. And I knew the top was going to come back. It always does there. Once the bottom started slicking off and guys were starting to, run tight to the bottom, I knew it was time to move up and just started picking them off as I could. And wish I would have made my move one lap earlier, but, that's the name of the game. So
we watched you come out of turn 4 and make that attempt down that drag race down the front stretch for the victory. It looked like you might have gotten into that outside wall coming out of 4. Did you make contact there? Did that slow you down from possibly moving in front of Shreves at the line?
It's possible. I did make just a little bit of contact. My tires did spin coming off the corner, which, turned into me brushing the wall there a little bit. But I was maybe just a little too hard on the old loud pedal, I guess.
Well, it was a great run and a lot of fun for us to watch there at the end, Dustin. Any sponsors you want to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Hans Performance. They do a lot of stuff on Facebook there. They run a bunch of money races and stuff, so check those guys out. Admin Box, Derek G LLC, Mimi's Makings in Motion, Du Bois Welding, Giddings Mobile Repair, Getting Hooked Fishing Guide, and CTFX for the awesome paint jobs you give us. And then the guys over at Black Bullet Racing. We've been working hard, coming up with some big stuff here in the future. So looking forward to next season.
Well, great run tonight, Dustin. Thank you for that entertaining finish, and we'll hope to talk to you again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks.
That's Dustin Sargent, your second place finisher in the 360s tonight. And now joining John from Victory Lane, it's going to be Randy Shreves in the 56.
Hey, Randy, this is John. You got a copy? Well, Bud, that was exciting, and I don't know that you can really get any closer than that to on a finish. Did you? First of all, did you know you won when you crossed? I mean, did you have your relative up to know that, or did you have to go look for it?
I had to look to I had to keep looking down to see if that number changed from 1 to 2, and it stayed. So, but yeah, I was looking. I knew it was close. It was just a hell of a drag race to the end, and that was literally one of the most awesome races I've had.
Well, I'll tell you, it was an awesome race all around, and some good racing all the way through the field, and you guys definitely were the class of the field. But one thing I was noticing, and I asked Nick after he dropped out there, the the exits of the corners was really giving guys fits more so than what I've seen in the past here. Um, did the track feel different once it got slicker, or was it just one of those nights where everybody was just trying to get more than what the track would give them?
Uh, Actually, I think it may be a little bit of both, but yeah, there with Nick, I think I may have been the culprit of taking him out. I went for a slide job there on Brian Dickens and realized that I wasn't clear, so I kind of kept my position down there in the middle, and I was just in the slick, and I think Nick got me from behind, and I believe that probably ended it
Yeah,
tonight.
Randy, we saw a lot of the same thing right there on that corner exit. People trying to do. I mean, it wasn't just you. That's why I was asking, because you guys like you don't make mistakes like that often, and I don't think it was a mistake. But I think it probably caught you guys by surprise, and that's what I was just trying to figure out. Was it just caught up in the moment, trying to race hard, or was the track just acting a little different?
It was a little weird tonight, though. Just yeah, how the track came in there. Dan blew by me there on the bottom, and I'm just sitting there ripping the top, and I'm not gaining any ground, and so I just hopped down there, chased him down on the bottom, and that went away. Dustin came from nowhere on the top there last couple laps, and yeah, it was just a weird track, crazy track, awesome
Yeah,
racing.
Yeah, I mean, it sure was. I hadn't seen line move around like that, and that's why I was probably guessing that was probably catching some guys out because it went to the top, to the middle, back to the top, to the bottom, back to the top. I mean, it was. I haven't seen a racetrack do that and then have that many different lines through the course of a night. But you conquered it, man. You brought her home up front here. Congratulations.
Yeah, that was definitely an awesome run, man. Uh, Definitely want to give a shout out to my team, LGR Motorsports, ABR Setup Shop, Redline Race Design, One Wish Foundation, Wraps and Stitches, KSB Builders, Finish Line Repair, CD Cinematography, um, everybody with the league for putting this stuff on, and everybody for the broadcast, everybody for watching.
Thanks for jumping in there, because that was what I was about to say is who'd you like to give a shout out to, but I started coughing, man. So good, good job at finishing my sentences there, dude. But hey, congratulations again, and we hope to see you again here next week, and hopefully we'll talk to you again.
Hopefully, I'll see you next week.
Yep, that's Randy Shreves, tonight's big winner in the Sprint 360 division.
So Cool Ray Hometown Heroes Night comes to a close. A great finish here with our 360 Sprint division. John, anything in closing to wrap up tonight from your vantage point?
Well, I know the other half of the bleacher bum. He missed a heck of a night here tonight. These guys put on a heck of a show for that last race, and even the other two were pretty good races there. So, some good racing once again for Hometown Heroes, and we'll be back same time, same channel next week.
Well, it was a pleasure joining you tonight, John. Thankfully, you're getting back to better health. It was a pleasure having you back on the call tonight. And with that, we will shut down for Cool Ray Hometown Heroes from Port Royal Speedway. Thank you for tuning in to the Coast to Coast Racing League Network, and we will see you again at the racetrack soon, race fans.
This copyrighted broadcast of Extreme eSpeed TV Network is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without express written consent of the Extreme eSpeed TV Network is strictly prohibited. We hope you've enjoyed this broadcast.